Hi everyone, I'm Heath Hightower, co-host of Process Recordings. Before we get started with today's show, I want to just give you a quick reminder. While Lisa and I hope you find our show useful, we also want you to know that it's not a substitute for therapy. If you do need a therapist, however, we do recommend that you check out the psychologytoday.com website. Also, if you need immediate support, contact 988, which is the 3-digit number to contact the National Crisis Hotline and Suicide number. Thanks for listening and watching, and enjoy the show. Hi everyone, I'm Heath Hightower.
And I'm Lisa Wessan.
And this is Process Recordings, the show where we have real conversations about real human experiences, and we offer tools, tips, and techniques to help folks get through some of life's greatest challenges. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Heath. So we are going to be diving into something very interesting today because it's called termination, also completion, ending relationships, ending careers, ending jobs, endings. So where shall we begin?
Yeah. So I guess the thing that I would want to say about termination is, I think we both agree we hate the language that our profession has come up with, which is a real throwback from an era where it was less focused on the relationship and more focused on the ending of work. And so I think I like your word completion better. But regardless of whether we call it termination or completion, I think the thing I would want to say first is that it's a process.
It is a process. It doesn't happen in one session. And for those of you who are not clinicians, the termination process is when you're in therapy for whether it's 6 months or a year, you usually have a last session where you wrap up. Now, there's a formula I learned in graduate school, like for every year you have 1 day of termination, so 2 years, 2 days, whatever. But it could be weeks. I've had some clients who we knew they were going to end like at the end of the year or the end of the summer, and for like months we're discussing like what's going on at the end.
Yeah.
So the termination process, I think it's very beautiful because it's a time to validate the work that was done and then to notice what needs to get done. What's the next steps? Like, where are you going to be after this? You know?
Yeah, I also think that talking about it at the beginning of your relationship with a client is helpful because it also signals that there is a beginning, middle, and end to what we do. And termination doesn't mean you don't ever get to come back. It just means, given the work that we've been doing, once we see that work to completion, unless there is other things to work on, then it would be normal and natural for our relationship to come to an end.
Exactly. It's almost unethical to keep somebody on if you finish the treatment plan. Like they present with a certain issue, it needs to be dealt with. We dealt with it. They're doing very well in that area now, A++.
Yeah.
And if there's nothing else going on, it's time to terminate.
Yeah.
Now, I've had the experience with some people. I say to them, I think you're really done here. I think we start wrapping up.
Yeah.
They go, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. So sometimes what we do is we graduate to every other week. We go biweekly for a while.
Yeah.
And then we do that for a couple of months, and then I'll check in with them again, say, what do you think? I think you're doing really well now. You don't need to come here anymore.
Yeah.
And they may or may not want to continue. Some people want to stay on like a safety net. What if I have a crisis? I'm not going to call you out of the blue. I want to have you in place, like a retainer thing. I said, well, I usually tell them, you could graduate, so to speak. I use the word graduation. And then you can always come back for a tune-up. Like if some crisis happens, my door is open to you. If you have a crisis, something happens, for 1 or 2 sessions, I'll always fit you in. Yeah. Always fit you in. For full time, that's something we may not be able to fit in. But, that gives them the leeway to make a gracious completion.
Yeah, and I think that's a really beautiful way to both acknowledge that the work comes to an end, but it also doesn't mean that the ending is permanent, right? And so I think the other thing that I have certainly seen in my own work is that sometimes if I start hinting that clients are making really good progress, maybe we should start thinking about seeing each other less frequently. All of a sudden, that actually triggers people to regress a little.
Yeah, I've seen
because they don't want to stop seeing, or they don't want to stop coming.
Exactly. They like to come.
They like to come. They like, the reassurance. They like the connection. And I think this is especially true and a bit of a dilemma for those of us who see clients whose primary presenting concern is loneliness. And they don't necessarily want to expand their social network. They're actually quite comfortable just having us in their life week after week after week after week. And to your question or your earlier comment about ethics, the question of do you charge the insurance company for that? Because they don't technically have a diagnosis to be treating. At the same time, if they stopped seeing you, they could go into crisis, right?
Right. Well, the people that have isolation, I've had some of those too, actually.
Yeah.
But I'm always encouraging them to go get more social stimulation, however they can. And then if they don't do it, I'll say to them, this is not enough. It is not. I can't sustain you. I want to empower you to have a better social life. And some of them want to even get partners,
Right.
So, I've had the experience of saying to someone, it's been several months now and you haven't taken any actions, and I don't think I'm helping you. I think I should refer you to somebody else because you're not. Your social life hasn't changed.
Right.
They go, no, don't fire me. Don't fire me. Okay, I'll go to a meetup. Whatever. Sure. I'll go to the senior center. They tell me 3 or 4 things they're going to do that week, and suddenly they go into action. And then, again, I borrow from may he rest in peace, Viktor Frankl. He taught me paradoxical intention. When you ask them these really tough questions, like why haven't you killed yourself, or why are you? So they can go into tremendous shift, and it comes from love. They know I'm not saying this to be mean,
right.
And I tell people I cannot take your money if you're not going to get better here. So that works. It could be triggering some may say, all right, I'm done, or they're going to say, no, I'll start working now. I'll do more.
Yeah,
I'll do more.
Yeah,
but I have with me, there's a 3-page form they fill out. There's some metrics. We like to see what they used to be like. They checked off all these boxes in the beginning about patience and tolerance and in traffic, on a scale of 1 to 5, and then self-care issues, food, nutrition, sleep. And then we see where they are now. They do the same form a year or 2 or 3 later, and they get to see how they went from 1s to 5s. And they feel like, wow, I really improved. Yeah. So for those of you, my therapist friends out there, if you don't have a good termination, a completion form, that's a good tool. At the beginning, you give it to them. The emotional baseline questionnaire of your own choice. So it's very satisfying when they do complete the work and they see I've made such progress.
Right.
They forget they had even insomnia problems. Now they're sleeping well. Wow, that's a huge thing.
Right.
And they have to validate themselves. It's a big commitment coming every week.
Yeah.
The money, the time, paperwork, whatever, insurance, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And, I think for some of our other clients, termination can trigger old grief, right? Because it's a goodbye of sorts.
And the attachment issue too. They get attached to us.
Yeah. And sometimes we get attached to them too.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
Which I think is oftentimes something we don't talk enough about is the degrees to, because I've actually supervised some clinicians where the clients were actually really ready to go. All of the metrics were indicating, and I kept asking my supervisees, tell me more about why there's another appointment with them. And it really has to do with the attachments that some therapists have. And so termination isn't just about what's going on for our client. It's also what's going on for the clinician as well.
Totally. I know. I love that. You're so cute. I would say too, I don't hold people hostage here. If you want to go, I always say, you're the boss. When people talk about maybe I should terminate, I say, you're the boss. If you think you're ready to terminate, let's start. If you think you're ready, then you probably are.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm not, these therapists who want someone to come for them for 25 years, what is that? That's not solution focused. That's something else.
Sure. Sure.
So,
yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So termination clinical, now we're 15 minutes in. So what about, we are having a completion session right here on the show, live.
I know, we're doing live termination.
We're doing live termination.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. So how should we do this? We don't have metrics, but
That's okay.
I will say that it was such a joy working with you. Thank you for approaching me. We met at this podcasting workshop in Westford a long time ago. And as I recall, you invited me to work with you, but my sister was dying. My husband was in the hospital. I said, I can't do anything for at least 6 months. And you said, okay, I'll wait.
Right.
I told you, find somebody else because I'm just crazy now. But you waited for me. So I was very touched by that.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to let folks know, this is an ending of this podcast, but there will be a future podcast that stars Lisa, the Lisa Wessan Show.
The Lisa Wessan Show is rising from the ashes of process recordings.
It's true. And just to let folks know, I am stepping away from the podcast because I have some other professional commitments in addition to doing podcasts. I'm a clinician and I'm a researcher and I'm a teacher, and I've been working ferociously for the last 9 months on a book that's going to come out in sometime either in the fall or the summer of 2026.
So exciting.
So thank you for that. So with all of those various hats that I am currently wearing, I knew I couldn't make the commitment to the show or to Lisa. So I communicated several months ago that I would need to be wrapping up my part of this, which is why we thought it would be really important for the podcast not to just disappear and have some of you out there think like, where did it go? What happened? We wanted to be super intentional about that, which I think is the other important thing to say about completion processes is it is an intentional goodbye that has both a process and tasks. So one of the tasks is to highlight the good work that was done, the work that could be done still, but we didn't get to, but can always circle back to at some point if people want to come back to that work. Because I think part of what is true is most people have nothing but bad feelings about goodbye because people just left them or abandoned them or rejected them. And I think we wanted to model what healthy relationships that are completed, like we're completing our relationship, and it isn't involving a conflict. It's not involving.
No, we never had a fight here.
Yeah. And so I think that felt really important to us, which is why we wanted to do a last show, even though, it's been 6 months since we've done a show. So I wanted to just acknowledge some of the facts about kind of what's happening and why.
Yeah. And just in case anyone's curious, the reason there was a 6-month gap, and there's no judgment here at all.
Yeah.
Heath took a marvelous vacation in the summer over in France. Yep. Our wonderful producer, Pete Padula, had COVID. And so we were scheduled, I forget, September, October. Yeah. But Pete had COVID. He had to recover. And then with the scheduling challenges, our next free Friday was November 21. So here we are. Yeah. So, it is what it is. Neither of us feel pressure. We don't have a lot of ego in this. So we don't care what people think. It's too bad. It took a few months, but so what? Yeah. These podcasts are almost eternal. They go on the quantum field and they're there forever, Sure. So whether it's 2 months or 6 months. But with Termination too, the joy of this is that I like that we had this series. It was really the process recording series. And I know people are still coming to me at my health club is like a big listenership there. Okay. It's a long story, but they do listen. And people have said to me, like, what's happened with your podcast? We miss you and Heath. I said, we're on hiatus. We're going to be back soon. Sure. But what's nice is that people do listen and learn. And I get feedback sometimes and they have a question about something. And I can't believe they're actually listening and taking notes. And they love you. You have a fan base.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Winslow Wellness Center in Tingsboro loves Heath Hightower, I have to say. If you ever come to my club, I may be doing workshops there at some point.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, who knows? Maybe
I'll do a book signing there.
We'll do a book signing.
We'll do a
seriously.
We'll do a book.
You should.
Sure.
No, there's a huge fan base there. There's a lot of people who watch that. Listen to us.
The idea that I have fans is a little surreal. I have to say the gay adolescent who hid in the library is stunned to hear that at age 52 almost,
Isn't that
I have a
something?
fan base that isn't required to be my fans like my husband and my friends are. So,
It's lovely.
so I appreciate that. That's very lovely.
No, it's a beautiful thing. We have a lot to offer. You have a lot to offer, and I look forward to it. And also, I'm going to read your book. And I said Heath's going to come back here as be a guest on the show,
Sure,
of course, when his book comes out.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny that the show is called Process Recordings for a reason, and we talked about that reason on our first show, which was that as social workers, part of our learning process, which is to say, learning about ourselves as we're doing the work of social work, there is a formal thing called a process recording so that we could learn how to self-reflect about ourselves, our clients, and all of the various skills that we were using simultaneously so that we could practice intentionally.
Right.
And so the podcasts themselves have been informational and technique and strategy focused so that people can have an awareness of what might be going on for them and then engage with tools and techniques to see if they can be better, feel better, think better.
We set that up intentionally with the Part A, Part B plan because being able to have the tactical and practical tools and tips and I feel like this is part of our legacy. I mean,
Sure.
I'm hoping, somebody they listen, they get a note or a book or a video, whatever. They watch something and it makes their practice go better if they're practitioners.
Yeah.
So
and for me, the book really mirrors that in the sense that the book is about my work with 4 clients. It is the verbatim dialogues that we had, and then it is also my reflections about what I did well and what I got wrong.
So it's a long process recording.
The manuscript is 574 pages, and it is a combination of process recordings that involve my own reflection about why I did what I did in the moment, and where I think I kind of got it wrong.
Right.
And
that's how we learn this. What I love about process recordings is that when I reflect, repetition is the mother of all these skills. So when you repeat, you notice, I did that again. Oh my God, I got to stop using that phrase, and then you don't. Eventually you self-correct.
Right.
Which is beautiful.
Right. Yeah. And this book was really written for my students and for future social workers because so much of my teaching is about demonstrating the right way to do things.
I can't wait to read it.
And then also reflecting with them about my own learning of how did I learn how to do it right. I learned by doing it wrong a lot and getting feedback.
Good supervision.
That's right. And for me, that's a real metaphor for life in terms of you can choose to live your life or not. But whether you live it or not, both is a risk. So if you choose not to live your life, that is a risk. You are risking never knowing happiness. And if you do take lots of risks, the risk is you're going to fall flat on your face sometimes.
Well, that's it. I like to say with all, I don't want to say humility, but like I fail forward all the time. I'm out of my comfort zone on purpose. And when I fall down and make a mistake, it's a good day because then I took a risk.
Sure.
And I learned something different, and in fact, well, I won't get into details, but I think learning to sit, being comfortable, being uncomfortable when taking these risks is one of the most important things in life that I've only really learned in the past 10 years or so. Yeah. And I must say my food and my fat were my greatest teacher because learning how to sit with my feelings and not self-soothe with food is probably maybe the purpose of my life. I don't know. That was a big lesson, a huge lesson for me. And also confronting people with difficult conversations and being able to be uncomfortable, that's the key. Yeah. To sit with this. And I may screw up and say stupid things and make a mistake, but so what? Yeah. At least I tried. And all of you, we want to empower you to go out of your comfort zone. You know, Neil Donald Walsh, he has this great quote. He says, life begins when you're at the end of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I always love that. Like, when I first heard that, I said, what does that mean? What does that mean? The end of your comfort zone means, like, you know, you're going to be scared. You're going to be a little nervous, you know. But that's where the fun is, too. That's where it gets interesting.
Yeah. Well, and again, that is where no one has ever experienced a moment of joy without taking a risk.
That's a heavy quote there. No one has ever experienced a moment of joy without taking a risk.
Of some sort.
I have to think about that. Is that really true? Well, actually, no, hold on. What about smelling a flower? Like, I can smell a beautiful rose or a lilac and feel the joy. And I'm not taking a risk there.
Well, except the risk is maybe you're allergic.
Okay, or I can get stung by a bee.
Or you get stung by a bee as you're sniffing it.
Okay.
No, I mean, and again, I think, you know, and again, there's a difference between, you know, experiencing pleasure, and experiencing joy.
Okay, that's true. That's a good. What's the distinction? Let's hear your distinction.
Oh, well, so I think about pleasure as, you know, stimulus response.
Right, it's fleeting.
Right. It is fleeting. By definition, it's fleeting. It's almost a purely biological experience. Mm-hmm. But when I think about, so you mentioned that my husband and I were in France this summer.
Yes.
When I think about us after the fact being there, I can fall into this blissful state of, remember that time when we were at the top of the mountain and we did the ability to savor that and to re-savor that over and over. It's not just stimulus response.
No, that's the joy.
The joy is being able to go back to that experience over and over again and feeling some new levels of joy and satisfaction.
Yes. The reminiscing is so exquisite.
Yeah. So that's how I think about that. And so since we're talking about the importance of reminiscence as part of the completion process, do you have a favorite show that we did?
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, I'll just start with favorite, but you can kind of define favorite in any way.
I think we did a heck of a job on boundaries. I think we had boundary part 1, boundary part 2. We did, boundaries, and also the anxiety show was very good. I'd have to re-listen to everything to make a decision like that. But I remember those stood out for me.
Yeah.
When I listened to them, I was like, wow, that was really a home run there. You know.
Yeah.
So boundaries and how about you?
I would say the show on shame. I feel like shame is such a powerful force in people's life. And I feel like it's the one emotion that I think we all have experienced, but don't talk enough about even in therapy. I don't think we spend nearly enough time talking about shame. So I would say that show, which was one of the very first shows, felt super important to me.
Yes, that was I love that show. I remember. I have to go. I'm going to listen to them again, probably.
Sure,
it's
of
been
course.
A long time. Yeah.
Is there a show that you wish we had done but never got around to?
Well,
and maybe the answer is no.
No, I'm thinking about, you love to cook and you're a really good cook. But this is not a cooking show, so we're not going to do a cooking show.
Sure.
But it would be interesting to talk to you about food and mood, and like what foods you find comfort foods, and what food you and your husband. I'm curious what you eat for comfort, and that would be another show. But it's kind of a silly topic compared to what we normally do.
Sure.
But I consider food as medicine, and healthy comfot food is a topic to me. Like I like to know, like a good ratatouille is comfort food for me. So but that's very frivolous, it seems.
Yeah, not at all.
Maybe too personal.
No, not at all. So part of what's so interesting is sometimes for me it really shifts. Like I don't have a one go-to. So there are days where I've taught all day, I was in meetings all day, I saw a client, and like all I want is a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios.
Oh.
And part of that is just nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
Like, I remember being a little boy when Honey Nut Cheerios came out, and like when I saw the bee on the TV commercial, I would like run and get the box of the cereal and like hold the cereal box up to the television screen. So there's something very nostalgic about that.
Yeah.
And then, seasonally speaking, like this time of year, I want something cheesy and ooey and gooey and hot and bubbly.
Eggplant parm.
Well, maybe, or like something even like just cheese fondue.
Ooh,
or like a good, like just nachos that's just heaped with cheese.
Oh my God. I would never have guessed.
So, but then there are these. So my husband and I definitely like fine dining. And what's interesting about that kind of eating is it's eating for pleasure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And kind of shared pleasure.
You're not watching the macros so carefully or the nutrient value. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. That's fun to hear. Another side of you. Yeah. For me, I'm so easy to please, but I mean, I can get off on a really good chia pudding. With stuff I put in. But again, it's another topic. I'm interested in fact, by the way, while I think of it, we're asking people, if you enjoyed this show or if you've enjoyed any of the previous shows, give us a like or write a comment, because that's not for my ego, but we're trying to get the valuation criteria raised so I can get A-list authors on here. Like, I want to get Uma Nadu, This Is Your Brain on Food, and she wants me to have like 1 million listeners before she comes on my show. It's like, so the only way we get that is by sending us a like. So do a like or a comment. Thank you. Meanwhile, and I think we're almost out of time here. So I want to say thank you for the honor of your time. It's been so fun and a pleasure to get to know you. And I respect you. And I can't wait for that book. I'm going to definitely read it and have you on the show for more questions.
Great.
And let's say to be continued. Like, life is a long story.
Oh, it is.
Who knows where this will end up? I mean, we're not. Neither of us are moving around the world. So I look forward to staying connected somehow.
Yeah. You too, Lisa. Take care now.
It's been wonderful. So this has been Process Recordings. I'm Lisa Wessan.
And I'm Heath Hightower.
And thank you for joining us. Thank you for the honor of your time. And remember always, good health is wealth. Please go for it. There is a solution, and never give up. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Process Recordings is produced by Lisa Wessan and Heath Hightower, with technical support from Chelmsford Telemedia, the community media center of Chelmsford, Massachusetts.